Bills Mafia, your owner, Terry Pagula, spoke to media for the first time in 5 years today. And what he said was not normal. Let's pull this up. All right. Bills owner Terry Pagula says coaching staff made the Coleman pick. Now, that already sounds off. Right? That already sounds off. He's already throwing his former staff under the bus. Right? He's saying that the coaches pushed for Coleman. Like, oh, I didn't want him. The GM didn't want him. He's saying that the coaches pushed for him. Right? And, he took the heat off Brandon Beane, like he was covering for him. He said, Beane just went along with it. He was being a team player. And that's finger pointing. That's finger pointing. Right? That's taking the blame off your guy, your GM that you decided to keep over your coaching staff and putting it on them, on your coaching staff. Right? Even if true, man, you don't say this. As an owner, you don't say that. Right? Because it doesn't help anybody. Right? To me, it sounds more like damage control. Like, okay, we got rid of our staff, but we decided to keep our GM. And, we're going to take that heat off the GM to make it a little easier for the fans. And not to mention the GM got a promotion. He got promoted to president of football operations, right? So, I guess he's defending this guy and wants to take some heat off of him. And it's definitely rewriting the narrative for sure. It's a bit of a fresh start, if you will. He's doing it to protect Brandon Beane and to, distance himself from that situation, right? Because we all know Keon Coleman, he hasn't been great through his first 2 years. And it's not just his skill set. I feel like it's the coaching staff not using him correctly. They had a bunch of misfits in that. They probably had the worst receiving room in the whole league, right? A bunch of misfits there, a bunch of guys that they just put together, and you don't really see any purpose with that team. They got a lot of guys that kind of do the same thing. Shakur and Samuel was hurt all the time, but I guess Coleman was picked to be that field stretcher. But that's just something that he hasn't, been able to take over that role. And a lot of it's been from the coaching staff and news around the team that it's been just a maturity thing with him, right? But he is a young player, and he is going into his third year with the team. If he is, still around, because after this, I wouldn't want my owners throwing me under the bus like that. I wouldn't want to, go back and play for him, because it makes it feel like they have given up on him, right? So yeah, it's big time unnecessary pressure. It's big time unnecessary pressure from him. As a player, I'd take that. I'd use that as fuel. If I'm Keon Coleman, I'm in the lab this offseason. I'm doing what I got to do, taking that step, proving everybody wrong. That's what the great players do. Very few owners would do this. Terry Pagula, like I mentioned earlier, he hadn't taken questions from the media in over 5 years. So, he probably forgot his his sensitivity training in that span of time. But Jerry Jones would probably do this. Jerry Jones, and I think he has done this. He has done this before. Even though I feel like he makes his own picks. Coaching staff gives him guys, and he ends up making his own picks. But this isn't normal NFL behavior, man. Not at all. Not in the least bit. I guess this is the new NFL. Where their owners are throwing guys under the bus, man. It's pretty crazy to me. But Keon Coleman, he's got to do his part. He's got to do his part, man. Last year, his rookie year, he had 29 catches for 550 yards, 4 touchdowns. This year, he regressed. He had more catches, but and 150 less receiving yards. He had 38 catches, 400 yards. And not to mention he got benched for a couple games. So he's got to do what he's got to do to take that next step, man, on and off the field. My final thoughts, man. This definitely says more about the Bills than Coleman. It's definitely a hint of dysfunction there. Starting at the top with the owner. I feel like Bills Mafia, you guys are at wit's end with this. You're ready to take that next step, man, and you can't do that if it feels like you guys are starting over. So, what do you guys think? Do you feel like Pagula crossed the line? Who do you think this was really aimed at? Right? Was it a shot at Coleman? Was it a shot at the coaching staff? Just comment below. Drop a comment below. If you're new to the channel, you guys make sure you hit that like, subscribe for more content. I'm trying to do more of these. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.